If I buy a book from somebody, I'm associating with them. Or if I buy a tool, not really. Value given for value received, and there's no pious or impious activity, pretty much. Well, at least not. And so then he says, giving and receiving gifts. You get to know somebody, you see something that, they like this, very difficult. And then they're very touched. Chanaka Pandit, the Machiavelli of India, it doesn't come close, said that there's no expression of affection like a gift. And especially something a little difficult to get and something, really touches a person's consciousness. Yeah. Okay, giving and receiving gifts. What's next? Giving and receiving gifts. Huh? Giving and receiving
food.
Food, yeah. And we see that. That's when any kind of a special event, there's special food, and these kind of things. So yeah, this is also another symptom of affection, love, giving and receiving food. And the last two are, talking confidentially with people, talking confidentially. And that's how you associate with people. Sangat, one's desires and ambitions. In company he, she, or it keeps. Yes, yeah. So as soon as you start associating with certain kind of people, you'll develop that kind of desires, ambitions. If you start associating, maybe you're not smoking. You start going to some job or you're working with people and you start talking with about what things make them happy, don't make them happy, personal anxieties and stuff, and start eating the kind of food they're eating, when they're eating it. No. What else we got? And start appreciating different kinds of things. And pretty soon you find yourself, give me one of those things. Yeah, okay, yeah, this does it. Yeah. And so it's unavoidable. Even studies in this in psychology and sociology and so on. So somebody very strong, very pure, they can keep themselves, from changing because they don't associate really with people. So this is very, very important text for anybody in any group, Shakespeare, Hamlet, Rajiv Gandhi, like that. Yeah, gone. Okay. And then we move on to the next text, which talks about how to apply this with devotees. Because he's saying there are Kanista Adhikaris, Madhyama Adhikaris, Uttama Adhikaris. And Christians say children in faith, young men in faith, and old men in faith. It's the same thing. Different levels of development spiritually. Okay, and he describes how to distinguish different people in their level of spiritual development. And again, it's very universal. Different. So many churches identify this. Then you apply this, giving and receiving food. For example, I was in the temple in San Francisco. The treasurer then had moved in. And our temple president was Udamanyu Das and somebody else. And then one person living nearby in the temple in San Francisco and invited us to come for lunch. He was a bhakta. And so our president said, okay, but we don't take any meat, fish, or eggs like that, and so on, strict. And we said, okay. So we went there. It was very nice. He cooked some nice things. In the end, he had a cake. The cake was very smooth. So I said, are there eggs in this cake? And he said, yes. He said, but we told you we don't eat eggs. He said, well, I also don't eat eggs, but there are eggs in the cake. Yes, but they're mixed in. Okay. This is Kanista Adhikar, no? Yeah. He's just lacks education. Sometimes it's not a matter of just lack of surrender, but it's just a matter of lack of education. From a previous lifetime, you may have become very, very renounced, austere, advanced devotee in many ways. But because of your situation, you've externally taken situation, even as an animal, become even an animal. Yeah. But what to speak of like some devotional position. And then when you come in contact with some spiritual master, acharya, Christian circumstance, Hare Krishnas, then very quickly you're making progress. And Prabhupada calls such people neophyte pure devotees. Neophyte pure devotees. Because you can see that this person has more faith in the holy names, than I do, even though I'm properly situated. I'm doing the puja on the altar. I'm worshiping the deities and so on. But at heart, he has more, devotion than I do. Because of circumstances, different things. So usually that kind of person will advance very quickly and just pick it up and change their habits and so on. So this is the, these first ones are about generally controlling your senses, engaging in Krishna service, and 4, 5, 6, again, about association, how to associate, how to apply with devotees. And number 6 is just the Uttamadhikari, especially how to get the association of very advanced devotee. Some devotees asked Prabhupada, will the Christians go back to the spiritual world? And Prabhupada said, yes, if they follow Jesus Christ's instructions. And then they said, well, Prabhupada, how will they know what Jesus Christ's instructions are? And Prabhupada said, some priest will tell them. Okay, so it's so simple. It's not a matter of having to know a lot. No, not a matter of having to know a lot. It's if you're going to do it. Yeah, that's the big difference. It's a big difference. Yeah. Always remember, what is it now? Bob Dylan, a great American poet. He got the Nobel Prize for Literature. One of his songs has said, here comes Albert Einstein and his superhuman crew who are rounding up everybody who know more than they do. Yeah, in some ways it's an impediment. It's an impediment. Radharani refuses to know. Radharani refuses to grow. Yeah, she finds the ideal age and everything else for devotional service. Yeah. So this is where science, of course, is trying to push everybody to be big knowers. No, it's the dedication, the motivation is first. So then the Uttamadhikari is describing they're available. I mean, how is Christianity available all over the world? The Bible and stuff. And from that, if you're sincere, very quickly you can understand the basic principle is to serve God, and appreciate people who are his part and parcels, and pray, bow down and pray to him. And then what? What happens next? Bhagavad Gita, 4 nutshell verses. Tesham. Yeah. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajitam priti purvakam. Tadami buddham yogam tam jinamam upayantate. For those who are constantly doing this, out of their volition, serving me, I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. And how does he do that? In the Bhagavad Gita it says, yeah, translation. No, translation over there, this guy. Yeah. The blue and white criminal. That's his prison outfit. Yeah. I dwelling within the heart. Yeah, destroy with a shining lamp of knowledge, the ignorance born of illusion. Yeah. So Prabhupada in the purport says, if you're sincere, then he says, if you're sincere and you can't take advantage of your spiritual master, you can't take advantage of his movement, even still, Krishna will enlighten you. Of course, the first thing he will do is enlighten you how to take advantage of your spiritual master and how to, stuff like that. But somebody, again, by their karma, they may be caught on a desert island, but nothing but it was a volleyball to talk to. Yeah, but everything will be arranged. And my own personal experience, like organizing some big symposia, things like this, it just got too much for me, and I would just pray Hare Krishna, and then, oh yes, can you need any help? Yeah, things like that. It was just like, yeah, Krishna would send help, if you wanted. Yeah. But, okay. So Prabhupada said, Krishna can put us in the mode of pure goodness at any moment. He can put us in the mode of pure goodness, right? Only one qualification, no selfish desire. And selfish means at the expense of others. That's the definition. Not that I want something for myself, but I want it at the expense of others. Yeah. Okay. Which is the material world. And what happiness is there winning something unless you defeated somebody else? Yeah, you got it. That's the whole thing. Crabs crawling on top of crabs. It's another story we have. Okay. So that's text number 6, is how to associate with the Uttamadhikari. Anybody know that verse? Number 6. It's the same meter or no? My kuntas jani tolvara. Yeah. But what's the name of it again? That's the sword. Oh, the playing tiger. Sharad Khan in the Jungle Book. He's the evil guy, Sharad Khan, the evil tiger. Kipling's interesting when you're studying India. Gangadhan, that poem, you ever heard it? From Kipling. Yeah. It's very interesting. Yeah, the British and their relationship with India is very interesting. Yeah. So we're chanting okay. We're chanting okay, right? I myself, I sort of chanting that meter without ever hearing anybody. In some ways, it's just natural things. Okay, so he's saying that Uttamadhikari, yeah, he's everything about him, everything he says, you just take as it is. His prasad he's offering, you take as it is. Everything else. In Kanistadhikari, you got to be very careful if there are eggs in the cake or not. The Madhyamadhikari, yeah, this is somebody who's taken initiation from the bona fide spiritual master, who's engaged in worshiping the deity. So basically, Baba is saying second initiation is the formality. But he also saying first initiation is enough to stick with it. Harinam Diksha is sufficient. But then there's a formality you should distinguish. Okay, people were engaged in worshiping the deity by the spiritual masters. And for them, yeah, it depends on their level. Some are higher Madhyamadhikari, some are lower. And this devotee has a little attachment to this problem, so we just don't talk about with him because he just goes crazy. And slowly he's got to get rid of that one. So you begin to practical. By using your intelligence, you can understand how to people, and you can become a Madhyamadhikari is a pure devotee by using intelligence. And uses intelligence, and Kanistadhikari can have problems. They don't have enough intelligence. They don't have enough determination. Uttamadhikari is spontaneous. Okay, and then he's discussed number 6, 7, 8, and then today's text number 9. Okay, well, where do you do all these things? First thing he says, I'll read the translation now finally. The holy place known as Mathura, is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha Loka, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan, because of Krishna's Rasa pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhana Hill. Okay? For it was raised by the divine hand of Lord Sri Krishna, and it was the site of his various loving pastimes. The site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radhakund stands supreme, for it was overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema. Wow, what English words there. Of the Lord of Gokula. Sri Krishna, where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radhakunda, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? And then text number 10, he'll go back to association from Vikarmis to Karmis, to Gyanis, to Vimukti Gyanis, to Sadhana Bhaktas, to Shuddha Bhaktas, to Braja Bhaktas, to Gopi Bhaktas, to Bhakti Radha. So every single kind of association is there. Probably a little explanation of it. So, and then finally he finishes off going back again to the place, Radharani and Radhakund. So sacred spaces. And you brought a Catholic priest around, or maybe it's a monk. This guy. We're talking. What's the difference between a Catholic priest and a Catholic monk?
Priests are.
I know. Nobody else knows. Know your neighbors. Yeah. Priests, actually, in Catholic Church, almost every priest is also supposed to be celibate, and they are. Not a priest. Yeah.
The priest
monks take additional vows of typically poverty, sometimes silence, sometimes solitude, and they're committed to a monastery. And priests are not.
Okay. Yeah. So priests perform the rituals. This is sacraments, baptism, confirmation, marriage, all these kind of things, right? And a monk, I don't think there are any monks at all who do that. I mean, some of them, some monastic orders in the Catholic Church are also do the rituals too, but many times they don't. So you may have somebody who's your shiksha guru from the time you're a small child, and you're in your community, your family, and then you're going to get married, and he'll recommend a priest, yeah, like that and so on. It's interesting. They're organized. Yeah. So he's describing. So I asked the guy over there, this Catholic guy. I said, "Is there a book in the Catholic Church on temple construction, church construction?" And he smiled and said, "Yes. It's called Built of Living Stones." Yeah. And it's just Krishna won't let that thing come up without some purification. My experience so many times as the building goes up, the false egos all come up and all over the world and stuff. Yeah, it's just, and you got to rectify certain problems, certain things like that, and it goes on like that. So it's everything in Bhakti Yoga is tied together. So physical construction, cooking for the deities, going out distributing books are all connected. I mean, how many very, very big book distributors have their own deities or are very dedicated to the deity worship? They're very much related. It's all developing. So yeah, it's the same idea that these places are very, and of course there's Gandharva Veda, Arya Veda, and the Veda of places is Vastu Veda. Oh, yeah, so very practical. People know these things. It's entire profession, architect. Architecture is the most scientific of all the arts and the most artistic of all the sciences. Yeah. And we were talking with an atheist one time, a nice atheist. He was a nice guy, and talking about these things, and he was telling me, say, Hanuman Swami, that there's, I bet you there's probably not even a single artist, a single architect in the entire world, even if he was an atheist, who wouldn't like to get a contract to build a temple or a church. Because even if there is no God, still, this coming right down to it, this is still like, the best perspective idea. This is Pasquale's wager. What is Pasquale's wager? You're a software engineer. Pascal, famous guy, right? Pascal language. Yeah.
Blaise Pascal, Frenchman of the 16th century, who said that you have only a little bit to lose if you believe in God and live a good life, but have a horrible punishment awaiting you if you persist in your sins. And so it's worth your while to bet that the Bible and God's promises are true, even if you have no idea that they are.
Okay, now what did Camus say about that?
Oh, well, that was a different Frenchman in a different century. Sorry.
Oh, you're a 16th century scholar. Okay. Albert Camus said the same thing. He said, I would rather live as if there was a God and find out there wasn't, and live as if there wasn't a God and find out there was. He's French, and also Pascalian wager. Yeah. So this is the situation, right? Is that we have different kinds of environments, they have different kinds of results and so on. And as we're saying, even atheists would appreciate that. The architect of his own profession realizes. And as soon as he's saying that, you begin to see the guy's really starting to doubt his own atheism. Why is it that, So he's coming to this level of Pasquale, which is, it's nice. That's way on the road. So here, of course, we have a very beautiful, little pomegranate seed. They call it bonsai. It's gone Delhi, Glory of the India project, the bonsai version. In where are we? The Treasure Valley. Okay, Treasure Valley. Is this Sanskrit? What is Sanskrit? Dana Valley in Sanskrit? Yeah. How do you? Valley, mountain, valley, river. Sanskrit word for valley, because it's Treasure Valley, so you need the Sanskrit name for it. Yeah, something Dana, no? Yeah. Huh? Gary, how do you say the valley in Sanskrit?
You would probably say Nivat.
Nivat?
Yeah, Nivat, Nivat. It's a feminine noun. Radhika cares.
Baga Nivak.
There you go.
Dani Nivak. That sounds interesting. Dani Nivak. Yeah. And so then we have a question, because now we're with Lord Jagannath in where are we now? Where does he stay after the Ratha Yatra festival? He stays in Gundicha Temple, which has another name. It has two names. Chaitanya Charitamrita is mentioning Sundarachala. And it has many gardens, different gardens with different kinds of, places like that. And Lord Chaitanya was staying for the entire two weeks or whatever, and doing different pastimes and different gardens, different places and so on, And of course, we talked about how Prabhupada recommended we do this. He didn't say it was required, but it's always saying, no, we do it, stay someplace. And then, again, it develops in the park. Every year this is where the Hindu community has their festival. And if you go to Golden Gate Park, it's very interesting. I had to live in San Francisco. I thought, this is miserable. There's no place to go, anything else. And I discovered Golden Gate Park was just a few blocks away. Then it was okay. It was very nice. Well, I would say Golden Gate Park should be the temple for the Bay Area, like that. Maybe 4 blocks wide, and 20 blocks long even. Yeah. There's so many different things in there for different clubs and equestrian clubs. And you start walking off through the forest. One area is like prehistoric type plants. And it looks like you're with the dinosaurs and stuff, real strange with swamps. Another one you came through, and there was a nice rock, and on top of it was a brass plaque. I think it was commemorating veterans from World War II. So same way, you could have a plaque commemorating the San Francisco festival when it becomes a significant part of the city. And every year then, okay, this gazebo turns into a place, and the festival is performed here. And it's all, this is quite possible if people want it. And Jagannath stays, for 2 weeks, and they have special offerings for him, and different cultural programs every night. And so people come, And even Prabhupada says, even you don't have to even know anything. You just come and sing and chant with the devotees, and and it's the whole place will become Vaikuntha. So Sundarachala Gundicha. What is Jagannath Puri? Is it superior to Vrindavan or inferior to Vrindavan? You there? Nitisa.
I don't know.
Okay, anybody else have any? Vaikuntha Puri, Jagannath Puri. Huh? Is Jagannath Puri superior to Vrindavan, less than Vrindavan, more than Dwarka, less than Dwarka, more than Vaikuntha, less than Vaikuntha? The same as all of those? Huh? But in very special form of Krishna. Yeah. He says below Vrindavan. Yeah. Sometimes it's associated with a certain lila, lila sthana. So it's kind of like has its own place. Like what's his name, Ranchor? Yeah. Lord Chaitanya were associated with Jagannath Puri, but Ranchor is also a very big place with certain pastimes, certain activity when Krishna left the battlefield. So there's so many places like that. We're just experiencing. Prabhupada says that other sampradayas, they can even know Krishna, but he says only the followers of Lord Chaitanya can understand the significance of Radha Kund. Yeah. So we can understand these things, so maybe a very general idea or something, but to really appreciate them and be going there and being in that consciousness is something else. Yeah. So I understand it's considered like Vaikuntha, kind of. There's no anxiety there, and it's describing these pastimes of Balabhadra and Baladev and the Subhadra and Madhyastha in the middle, being served. Yeah. In some respects, Jagannath Puri is Krishna in Dwarka, hankering to return to Vrindavan. Okay, it's a very specific moment. Krishna knows that Krishna is not surprised that all the girls like him. He's handsome, right? His daddy's rich. Okay. What else? He's good at sports. He had lots of friends. He's funny. Yeah. So Krishna, of course the girls love him. And he's walking maybe to school or something with his friends, and they're all, looking at him. But Radha is just insane. When she sees him, she starts having hiccups. Like, imagine what it's like. She just like, even Krishna freaks out. What is this? Hiccup. Just even he can't understand. So I know I'm good looking over this kind of stuff, but this is ridiculous. What is it? So he asked Lalita, Vishaka, her friends, what is it about Radha? They say, well, it's really difficult for guys to understand, like, how girls feel and all this kind of stuff. But let's go someplace confidential and we're trying to. So that confidential part of Vrindavan is Navadvip. Yeah, Navadvip is that confidential part of Vrindavan where, Lord Chaitanya and Krishna tries to understand Radha's mood and imitates and does all these things. The gopis are kind of, never really, carries on. Yeah. And so I say that, okay, that Vrindavan is more advanced than Jagannath Puri, but within Vrindavan is the Gambira. Jagannath Puri is Gambira. And Gambira is, what does Gambira mean? Sanskrit. Deep, yeah. It's the residence of Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri. And it's part of Kashi Mishra's house or Sarvabhauma's. Yeah, maybe both times. Okay, yeah, because you can find it. It was called. How was it called? It says that Sarvabhauma's house was not a Nutana or Nutana Markandeya Sarastata. To note one purport. Nutana Markandeya Sarastata. The pond of Markandeya. Yeah. Nutana Nu, like that. So they had this place. These houses were very big. So Lord Chaitanya was staying at the Kashi Mishra. Kashi Mishra was arranged for somebody else. He was staying at the house of Sarvabhauma. Anyway, staying someplace. And that was his room. It was the Gambira was the room and the outside room where Govinda would stay. But Lord Chaitanya would just go into intense ecstasies of separation. And so these are not even manifest always in Vrindavan. Mother Yashoda, if you tell Mother Yashoda, oh, your boy goes out at night, he's dancing with girls in discotheques and doing all this kind of stuff, other people's wives, she'll probably punch you in the nose and kind of stuff. Why, boy, good boy. So even these things are confidential. So Lord Chaitanya would stay with Srup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, who are Lalita Vishaka, and discuss these different topics, different poems. And of course, the examples, he was so much in ecstasy, he would rub his face against the wall even and chant and so on. So many problems. So within Jagannath Puri, there are parts that are more advanced than most of Vrindavan. So somebody can be in, is there Shantaras in Vrindavan? What are some things in Shantaras in Vrindavan? His flute. Videshamrita gives a list. Yeah. The cows, the garlands, the lamb. Yeah, they're in Shantaras. But I would suspect this is Vrindavan Shantaras. Vrindavan Shantaras. But within these things, these different mellows are combined. That's what Goswami is explaining in the northern part of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That how do these things combine together in a tasteful way? Like you wouldn't expect Mother Yashoda to be having conjugal sentiments towards baby Krishna. This is Ras Bibats, right? Disgusting combination. Chocolate, broccoli, ice cream. Okay. Chocolate, peppermint ice cream. I like that. Oh, it's good. It's nice. Peppermint is like the chocolates, Yeah. Chocolate mint sweets. Okay. Yeah, they're very, anyway, it would have different tastes. Yeah. So that's the kind of final point is that, then beginning to appreciate different places. Prabhupada says, become self-realized, build your character, and preach. Right? Yeah. So it doesn't mean you're necessarily realizing you're Bhava and Vrindavan Dham. You understand? No, I'm really good administrator. I didn't really realize it until I became a Hare Krishna, but people, followed my advice, and I have this real desire to help people. Okay, I'm a manager. That's my good position like that. So but I have some Shudra nature. So yes, you begin to realize your first initiation, the bank pays, I work, Sambandha. Second initiation, some ideas of Varnashram. You find yours take second initiation, you do, okay, Rija or not. And then, later on, Paramatma, so you begin to really understand your karma, your nature, and how to use them for Krishna. Yeah. So on. Yeah. And then when you start Paramatma, you understand your relationship with the Paramatma, who's in contact with all the karma in the universe. Yeah. And then you begin to realize the Paramatma is just the hand of Krishna. Yeah. It's difficult for devotees to understand the Paramatma. And Premanjana, Charita, Bhakti, Vilochanena, Santa, Sadaiva, Hridayesha, Vilokayanti, Yam Shama Sundaram. Yeah, devotees see whatever happens. They see Krishna. Krishna did that, Krishna did that, Krishna did that. Yeah. It's just difficult for us to kind of realize the Paramatma because we always see Krishna. Yeah. So it's our little maybe presentation. And also we have here today, maybe we're going to go now to, I'm going to push this button. What is that? A strange thing there. There's a strange thing on my, this is a Zoom. Okay, I'm going to go to Zoom. Zoom. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to turn on my video camera. Okay, I'm going to flip the screen. How do you flip the screen with this thing?
Hey, there he is.
How do I flip the screen? There's some way to flip the screen, isn't there?
I could advise if you had an iPhone, but I'm helpless here.
I got it. There we go. Okay. What's inside of the box? I can't recognize. Okay. Here we have it. Tamu Pache Pache. We had the copies here, the 8.5 by 11 copies. Now we got our advanced sample, publisher's sample of the 8.6 by 9. A couple, maybe one fatal error. There's no table of contents. So now we're going to get 8.5 by 11, which is really better because you can punch it and everything else. It's easier to print. But very very nicely laid out. Abhiram did it. It's a whole team of all the people that would have been involved in making the book. Yeah, 8.5 by 11. Yeah, but in that's a different copy, or it's the same one? Okay, because that may have the table of contents in it. Yeah. So it's very nice. Go on making advancements in Prabhupada's movement. Go on pushing little things forward. But a lot of people, doing that, and that's how it goes. My experience is individuals making decisions to serve Prabhupada. And then we have our institution, our organization, but also there's that people individually make the responsibility serving Krishna, Prabhupada, and then we have different advances like that. So, any koi prashna, huh? I learned that from Brajmando Parik.
I've heard several times come to a second initiation, trust your intuition, your understanding nature, things. And then I also hear first initiation might be sufficient.
Yeah.
I'm curious, I get confused how do you explain further why first initiation could be sufficient?
Yeah, because second initiation can just be a formality. Adoshrada, the different levels of spiritual development are described there. Kanistadakari, Majjamadakari, Uttamadakari. You can go through all those at development just by Harinam Diksha. That's sufficient. You can go all the way to Goloka. But externally, it's like Jayananda, the example, right? He took second initiation, but his Brahmin thread was black from automobile grease. He forgot some of the mantras. But there's nobody's going to contest that he's Uttamadakari, maybe even Avatar and all this kind of stuff. You saw his characteristics, his habits, and so on. So but second initiation is like a formality. But Prabhupada says, for example, second these things, initiation is a formality, but not without meaning, like that. Again, a boy and a girl may be very dedicated to each other, very chaste in so many ways. But if they're going to be living together and everything else, then they should be married, right? And there's certain formalities which are given, from the spiritual platform and stuff. Yeah. 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 Okay. 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 Yes. We're from left to right here. Okay.
Talk about the different paths to develop. So how does one develop the passion to the when we go like get
Yeah. So Marty's asking, how do we develop attachment from the Holy Dhamma if we can't go there? I remember the very beginning when before I ever went to the temple, Krishna book Prabhupada says the devotional service and the kingdom of God are not different. Yeah. So as you advance in devotional service, you're living more and more. You know? On the other hand, you can go to a so-called physical dham, holy dham, and not even be there, really. Yeah. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we've heard says you can be on the dham or in the dham. You go to Vrindavan, there's all this asphalt road. That's on the dham. If you lift it up and stick your hand under the asphalt. Yeah. So it's a matter of consciousness. What's that go? Shudabhakata Charanavenu. Yeah. But even though Thakur says one day I saw my house converted into Baloka Vrindavan. Yeah. And many personal experiences like that. No, one year I forced going to India to Vrindavan. It was a very superficial experience. Another time I sacrificed going there because I really should be going to South America, and all the time I was there, it was just like being in Vrindavan. Yeah. But but usually, Krishna arranges that the external things they matter. He empowers these rituals, these places like that. Yeah. But again, how's it go? Nama, text 7 and 8. Nama, Rupa, Charitadi. Okay. Sangha. So Nama means the holy name, and Rupa means form. So the holy Dham is form. Yeah. And so on. So the deity worship. Yeah. So it happens. It just develops automatically in our process. If we just basically go on chanting Hare Krishna, and you'll develop attachment for Krishna's form, and then Krishna's not alone. He has paraphernalia. It just develops. Yeah. Okay.
There's a couple of
Oh,
messages here.
let's see what Gary has to say. We go then to more. And it goes chat. Okay. Gary Thomas. Yeah. St. Thomas says, but verse 6 has a different meter from verse 9. He's saying, okay. Verse 6 is not Sardula Vikridita. What is 6? Yeah.
I thought you had been talking about 6 and said it was the same. It was the one about the devotees.
Yeah. 4, 5, 6. Huh? But Vasant Tilak. Yeah. Spoiler alert. I know so much about Blaise Pascal and his wager because he was a mathematician. Yes. Is there any philosopher who's not a mathematician?
No, not a good one.
Yeah. Well, here's a big one. Please try and define mathematics. I'll tell you before that, the Encyclopedia Britannica says it's very difficult. Yeah. For example, this formal logic, is that a part of the mathematics? This grammar mathematics? Yeah.
The way I teach it, it is.
Yeah. But you are not Pascal. You are not even French. Only French people can be mathematicians. Okay. So final questions or comments. Okay, over there. Yeah.
We all have a relationship with Krishna, but you've also said that sometimes we might progress to Vaikuntha, then Ayodhya, and before we eventually get to Nava. So how does that work?
Okay, Nitya Siddha. I'll forget what that reads, all right. Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema, Sadhya Kabunaya. Shravana Adi, Shuddha Chitta, Karaje Udaya. Yeah. I always remember it's my Western curse because Tarzan's monkey is named Chitta. Chitta. Shuddha Chitta. Yeah. So they're saying there, that our Krishna Prema, which is our relationship with Krishna, Nitya Siddha. It's an eternal perfection, an eternal quality. Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema, Sadhya, Kavunaya. Not something you get from some other source. So, this whole thing about the origin of the jiva, this whole discussion, it's a politically motivated thing. My guru knows more than your guru, and so on. But as far as understanding, it's saying that, that we can be in, Prabhupada says, he says, we were with Krishna, but somehow or other we didn't like Krishna. Okay. So you can fall down from Goloka to a Dwarka, yeah, and then go back. In any place we have free will depending upon our consciousness. And again, too, is the different people in their positions, like we're saying, which is more advanced, to be with Lord Chaitanya and Jagannath Puri, or to be with Krishna and Vrindavan. Yeah, within any service, there's mixtures and combinations like that, and so on. So, and when Lord Chaitanya is talking to Ramananda Roy, and he asks him more, higher. And he starts talking about, finally comes to the rasas in Vrindavan, and he says, well, he said, I can give you like hierarchies, but he said, actually, you can only distinguish these from tatas to sta. You can only distinguish these from a neutral position. And when you're in your rasa, forget it. Probably even, there's even concession in the Nectar of Devotion, a couple of places where Prabhupada's conceding that Shakya rasa is better than Madhurya rasa. Girls are fickle, girls are useless. Come on, let's go play ball. It's like this thing. Yeah. Beer won't let you down. Okay. But yeah, so this is even that level. So he says the conclusion is that the best rasa is your rasa. You're talking about the best and so on. As you begin to understand different things, hierarchies, intensities, it's a sophisticated, what do you call it? Topic. Yeah. What is the best bike? What is the best guitar? It's going to be like, yeah, it's going to be, people may agree on some cluster or something, but in that, it's what you want.
Speaking about the sages in Dandakara,
Yeah.
where their eternal relationship with Krishna was that of conjugal. They eventually became gopis next time.
Yeah.
But they had a stop in Ayodhya or in Ramlila, that they had to be in their progression. They had to go to that place and go on and down.
Yeah. Or maybe you come back down into something lower to purify your higher self. Prabhupada says even the gopis, when they start to think of Krishna, they start with his lotus feet. Yeah. But of course, their ideas of Krishna's lotus feet are different than somebody else's idea of lotus feet. So, it's continuous. That even though you're on, it's, Prabhupada says Shanta rasa may be a rasa or not. Different acharyas would call it that. But he said, whatever it is the basis of everything else. So even in the gopis nobody is better at Shanta rasa than the gopis. Right? Yeah. So it's just matters. So chanting, reawakening somehow or other. Gopal Kumar was in the material world or something, right? And they say it's accepting Gopal Kumar and Briha Bhagavatamrita, but they're not accepting we have a rasa with Krishna originally. But we're returning to that. Well, yeah, but he's returning, right? He's going back to his original position. And he goes to Hanuman, and Hanuman does this, if you do the Brajmanda Parikrama around Vrindavan, it's the city, there's more Hanuman temples than there are Radha Krishna temples. One time I think I counted something like 38 Hanuman temples. And is Hanuman there? Yeah, supposedly he's Hanuman in Vrindavan. Different things, protector of the Dham, or things like that. So again, you combine these things together. Okay, so I want to thank everybody. Was that so? We have. Huh? Oh, it doesn't show up on my screen. Okay. Balabhadraji, what is hello?
Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now, Maharaj?
No, I still can't hear you. All your
Okay.
voice is a little louder.
Well, I'll do the best I can here. I was
Okay.
remembering reading in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, I forget what the contest was, but Prabhupada was talking about Shantaras there in a couple of verses. And what was very interesting is Prabhupada says at one point that Shantaras is for those souls who are particularly lazy, they're not really inclined to do service for Krishna. But because it's favorable, therefore it's considered bhakti still.
Yeah. She says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, remember she was reading, and Prabhupada says that Shantaras is for people who are lazy, not really inclined to do service. So I guess we can say Krishna's flute is lazy. Yeah. Okay, thank you all, everybody. Please chant Hare Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. Like that. Hare Krishna.
Hare
There.
Hey, Bob,
Right.
thank you, Maharaj.
Wow.